The most avoidable cave deaths ever.
Nam Talu Cave. On October 13th, 2007, 9 people entered Nam Talu Cave in Khao Sok National Park, Thailand. The group included 6 tourists, 4 Swiss nationals, a 10-year-old boy from Germany, and a teenage girl from the UK, as well as 2 Thai guides. The cave is known
Really, a random UK put in there.
for its scenic passages filled with shallow water. During the dry season, guided tours are common, but this tour took place in the middle of
Honestly, it's kind of a vibe. Not going to like a normal cave, but going to like a crystal cave, like one of those caves that have all the crystals, or that like have crystals in the roof that you're not allowed to touch, obviously, because well, it's part of the cave's aesthetic. Going to one of them would be really cool, I'd say.
Thailand's rainy season. The
Ooh.
group entered the cave shortly after noon. The weather at the entrance was stable. No rain had fallen in the area that morning, and conditions seemed safe. However, rainfall had occurred further upstream in the nearby
Oh
mountains,
no.
where the cave's watershed begins. Because Nam Talu is part of a complex drainage system, it is highly sensitive to upstream flooding. As the group made their way through the cave, they followed a stream passage that grew deeper. The guides noticed that the water level was slowly rising, but they continued deeper. Minutes later,
That's their guy's fault. If they start realizing the tide goes up, or like they can realize the tide goes up, if it starts going up even more decently speed, I'm taking everybody back with me. Like, are we seriously just like, nah, it's nothing? Like, that's such like a misinput on their end, honestly. Like, it's so
a flash
stupid.
flood surged through the tunnel. The water rose quickly and flooded the narrow sections of the cave. Panic broke out. One of the guides instructed the group to climb a slope toward higher ground. Some managed to reach safer areas. Others were caught in the current. The water filled the tunnel within minutes.
Shouldn't there be a precaution from with water caves for them just to bring oxygen masks and stuff like that? They have like oxygen tanks just as a precaution and just give it to the people just in case. Like if for a water cave that's easily flooding up like stream, it would be a good idea to bring that with you. Or is that just like me being stupid or some shit like that? Obviously it's expensive and stuff like that, but just in case this happens.
Leaving no airspace in sections. The narrow passageway gave the group no room to escape. 8 of the 9 people inside the cave drowned. Only the British teenager survived by climbing onto a narrow ledge above the water. She waited there for more than 16 hours before being rescued by a search team. The other tourists and both Thai guides were found dead.
Honestly, knowing me, I would probably pass out. Like, honestly, when I get tired, I get so tired. I honestly would probably fall asleep in the cave. Like, actually.
Was the 10-year-old boy from Germany. The incident drew national attention. Authorities closed the cave and later issued a seasonal closure order. From June to November each year, the cave would remain off-limits due to the risk of flash flooding. Signs were installed at the entrance to warn visitors. Local tour
just make sure you bring an oxygen mask and you're good. Like, if you bring an oxygen mask, you swim out. Like,
companies were instructed not to conduct tours during this time. For more than a decade, the seasonal closure was respected, but enforcement was inconsistent. Some tour operators quietly resumed cave tours during the rainy months if surface weather conditions seemed safe. In many cases, the risk was underestimated. On August 6, 2024, another group entered the
that's only like 2 years ago. Maybe it's probably like a year and a bit over half. Like, are we serious?
Cave, despite the official closure. The group
please tell me, right, they at least bring their own oxygen mask. If I heard news about why it's closed, why it's happened, I'm getting a cheap, not even a big oxygen mask, I'm getting a cheap one at least. So if I do get, like, waterboarded, I can find a good spot or trying to get out, like.
It included 22 tourists and 2 Thai guides. The weather at the time appeared normal. It had rained the previous evening, but the skies were clear that morning. The group began their tour in the afternoon. At around 5 p.m.
Oh yeah, it only rained yesterday, not raining season. Let me just go in the cave. No oxygen mask, no nothing. Let me just put it to fate, man. Let's just do a 50-50 chance, you know, up their experience.
While the group was exiting the cave.
And sorry, do the random people here, like, if they're people from Thailand doing this, they're idiots, but I would have heard about it on the news, but like, if it's random people, you gotta kind of feel bad for them.
A flash flood struck. Water from upstream had reached the cave system and rushed through the narrow tunnel. The force of the water trapped the group inside. Thai rescue teams were dispatched quickly. They were able to extract the tourists and one of the guides. However, the second guide, a 37-year-old man, was swept away by the current. His body was found several hours later. He had been helping others escape when the flood overwhelmed him. An investigation followed. The Park Service confirmed that the cave had been closed at the time. The tour company responsible had violated the seasonal closure policy. Legal action was taken against the operator for negligence. After the 2024 incident,
they might just have to seal the cave.
Park officials strengthened safety measures. Despite these efforts, concerns remain. Some local
Makes
operators
sense.
continue to minimize the risks. In a region where tourism is a major source of income, there is pressure to keep popular attractions open. Visitors
Bro, if this happens again, just seal the cave, actually.
unfamiliar with the cave's history may not understand the danger. The Nam Talu cave disasters are among the most avoidable cave deaths in recent memory.
Makes
Schroeder's Pants
sense.
Cave. On February 13, 1965, 3 members of the Boston Grotto Club arrived in the small town of Dolgeville, New York. Their goal was to explore a cave in the foothills of the Adirondacks, known as Schroeder's Pants Cave. The group included 23-year-old James Mitchell, a chemist from Massachusetts, nurse Hetty Miller, and Harvard graduate student Charles Bennett. Before entering the
Pretty stacked lineup. Successful, successful, successful. What are these friend groups? And just have the richest families ever. Doctor, Harvard, chemist. Like, geez, that's so stacked.
cave, Mitchell visited George Lyon, a local man who, together with Herb Schroeder, had discovered the cave in 1947. Lyon provided them with background information on the layout of the cave, but no one warned them about the conditions inside. Temperatures had hovered around freezing earlier that
Ooh.
week, leading to increased runoff. Ice-cold water was now pouring through the cave's passageways. Despite this, the 3 cavers entered. They worked their way through the named sections of the cave: Lemon Squeeze.
I'm sorry, lemon squeeze. Yeah, that sounds like such a fun time. Like, sorry for me, knowing how I am, I'm getting stuck here. Like, I don't understand. If I had to squish my head in, you see one of those videos of the cavers where they barely can breathe, they have to, like, wiggle the way through a corner. And, like, how are you going to get out of that? Like, sorry, that's just not fun. Like, definitely around this corner. Some people would get so stuck through this corner. It just doesn't seem worth it, in my opinion, at all.
Z-bend, and gun barrel until they reached an open chamber with a vertical shaft that dropped
Ooh.
roughly 80 feet or about 24 meters into a bell-shaped cavern below.
I'm saying, once I get here, I'm saying I explored it. I'm not dropping down 80 feet when I can't get back up. It's straight vertical.
Mitchell was the first to attempt the descent. He clipped into his safety lines and began lowering himself down, but something went wrong. He stopped partway down and appeared to be in trouble. According to Miller, Mitchell attempted to descend further, then tried to climb back up the rope. He was unable to make progress in either direction. He was
Why?
being hit directly by the water flowing
Oh.
down the shaft. Rescue reports estimated that about 10 gallons or 38 liters of freezing water were landing on
Jeez.
his head every minute. The cold quickly became a serious factor.
Yeah.
Mitchell's strength began to fade. His voice became weaker. Eventually, he stopped speaking altogether. Bennett and Miller tried to pull him up. They spent 45 minutes struggling with the rope, but couldn't lift him out. Realizing the situation was beyond what they could manage, Bennett exited the cave to find help. A newly formed cave rescue team, the National Capital Grotto Rescue Squad, flew in from Washington, D.C. on Air Force Two. The operation quickly made national headlines. Among the 6 young rescuers was Doug Bradford. None of them had experience with an actual cave rescue, but they had trained for similar situations.
Okay.
They made their way into the cave and reached the shaft. Their first attempt was to pull Mitchell up by the rope, but it was immediately clear that he was no longer alive. Bradford later explained that Mitchell's body was limp and that they quickly understood it would now be a recovery effort. The team worked on widening parts of the cave. They spent 3 days trying to make space to bring the body out, but during one of their rigging attempts, part of the shaft collapsed. Dirt and debris began falling down into the cave. It was no longer safe to continue. With Mitchell's body still suspended by his harness, the cave was sealed.
Makes
Explosives
sense.
were used to close the main entrance. Large rocks were placed over the collapse, and a memorial headstone was installed near the site. Pierre Saint Martin Cave. In August
Ooh.
1952, an international caving expedition began descending into the Pierre Saint Martin cave system, located in the Pyrenees.
Very big cave. You see, I'm guessing, right? From my experience with these people, see this guard railing here? I rock fools of them, or they jump over, slip, fall down this crevice.
Along the border of France and Spain. At the time, it was considered the deepest known cave in the world.
That's cool.
Among the team was Marcel Lubin, a 33-year-old French engineer and experienced cave explorer. He served as the second in command of the expedition, which was led by Belgian Professor Cossens. The team had spent nearly a week underground, setting up rope ladders, exploring new passages, and mapping vertical shafts
I couldn't. A week straight in the dark? Nah.
deep inside the mountain. On Wednesday, August 27th, after 6 days underground, Lubins was being hauled up through a vertical shaft as part of the ascent out of the cave. He was suspended by a steel cable attached to a winch system. But just as he was being lifted up the final stretch, the cable snapped. Lubins fell 130 feet or almost 40 meters straight down a rock slope into the shaft. He survived the fall, but the impact left him severely injured with a
Ooh.
broken back. He lost consciousness shortly after hitting the ground and fell into a coma. He was now lying 1,260 feet
How?
or
Oof.
384 meters below the surface, inside
Okay.
one of the deepest parts of the cave system. Despite the immense difficulty, a rescue operation was launched. Team members climbed down rope ladders to reach him. A doctor descended into the cave to assess his condition, working by headlamp and candlelight in the cold, damp chamber where Lubins lay unconscious. Despite the risks, a blood transfusion was performed in the cave, an extraordinary attempt at underground medicine. The rescue teams stabilized him as best they could. Over the next 2 days, they attempted to hoist him slowly back toward the surface using a manual winch system, but the shaft was narrow and conditions were dangerous. As the rescue progressed, rocks began to loosen inside
Oh
the
no.
shaft. Falling debris now posed a danger not just to Lubins, but also to the cavers working below. On the evening of August 29th, after nearly 36 hours of rescue efforts, Marcel Lubins died underground. The
That
Jordbrugrada
sucks.
cave tragedy.
Was it even anybody's fault as well? The cable snapped. Like maybe he could have done 2 cables, but still, it's still crappy
On
as.
February 6th, 2014, 5 experienced Finnish cave divers prepared to enter one of the most dangerous underwater cave systems in Europe, Pluragrada, also known as Jordbrugrada, located in northern Norway. Their goal was ambitious: dive through a 420 feet or 130-meter deep submerged passage, reach the other side of the mountain, and surface in a distant dry cave chamber. It was a journey that required precision, discipline, and perfect coordination. Each diver carried a closed-circuit rebreather, a high-tech breathing system that recycles air to allow
Really?
deep dives for extended periods. The group was well prepared, but this cave had claimed lives before. The tunnels were
Yeah, like even if I'm a caver, if it has a decent like death count, I'm not going in the cave. Like, it just doesn't seem worth it. Like, I understand, like it's like skydiving in my opinion. It's cool, but I just don't think it's worth the risk. Like, it just doesn't seem worth it, you know? Even though like the chance of it failing is really rare and you have a backup, it just doesn't seem worth it.
narrow, the water near freezing, and the depth pushed the limits
Near
of human
freezing,
endurance.
yikes.
At first, everything went smoothly. The divers followed a fixed guideline that led through the submerged passages. They moved in a staggered formation, each managing their own buoyancy and trim in total darkness. After navigating through tight restrictions, they reached the deepest part of the route, where visibility dropped and the tunnels grew more unstable. Then, something went wrong.
Really?
Around 360 feet or 110 meters deep, one diver, Jari, got stuck.
No.
It was in a narrow restriction between 2 rock walls, a point in the cave where movement was tight even in perfect conditions. He became wedged, unable to go forward or back, and his rebreather began malfunctioning.
No.
In moments like this, panic is fatal. Another diver, Patrick, tried to help, but the tunnel was too narrow for both of them to maneuver. Visibility was dropping fast, and the water temperature was just above freezing. Silt from the cave floor filled the tunnel, and now both men were blind. Jari's breathing became frantic, and soon his mouthpiece slipped out. Patrick tried desperately to hold on to him, to insert the backup regulator, to free his partner's arm, but the effort failed. He had to make a choice. Stay and die with him, or leave and find help. He left. Back at the surface, the remaining divers began to realize something was
Oh,
wrong.
no.
2 men were missing. Emergency services were contacted, and within hours, the Norwegian police closed the cave. The bodies, they said, were unreachable, but the team didn't accept that. A few weeks
What happened to
later,
the other guy though? He said he left.
a new plan was made in secret. A team of Finnish divers, including close friends of the deceased, returned to the cave against official orders. Over the course of 100 hours, they
Jeez.
penetrated the deadly system again, this time solely for recovery. They worked in total silence, inching their way through the tunnel, navigating the same restrictions
Please
that
don't
had
tell me
claimed
they
their
get stuck.
friends. When they reached the spot where Jari had died, they found his body still suspended in the narrow passage. His rebreather was flooded, his arms still in the same position as when he had last tried to escape. Behind him, deeper in the cave, they found Diver 2, believed to be Kai, who had died while attempting to reach or help Jari. His equipment was mostly intact, but he had run out of breathable gas long before help could have arrived.
No.
After carefully securing the bodies and extracting them through some of the tightest passages in the system, the team brought their friends home. It was one of the most difficult recovery dives in history,
Makes
documented
sense.
in the 2016 film Diving into the Unknown. If you enjoyed this video,
I did. W video. If you do enjoy react videos like this, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below what video I'm react to next, and that's me signing off.